So just rebranding VMware to be cloud now.
Well, Amazon did the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So Amazon, I'm actually quite funny because I don't really, truly, I think cloud is much more about the platform layer than it is necessarily about the infrastructure. I mean, infrastructure as a service, to be honest, is in a lot of ways just the way most people do it is it's a cheaper way of hosting, right? Or it's a cheaper way of provisioning things, or I've managed to cut my provisioning cycle for a physical server from 2 days down to 2 minutes. That may cut 2 days off the end of a 6-week process in most organizations, so it doesn't actually get you much benefit. I think real cloud comes when you actually architect for the cloud. So if you build applications to take advantage of the ability to scale. I mean, if I turn around and your trading platform's running on an Oracle database or a big SQL database and you've suddenly got to scale it twice, that's not something I can do by spinning up another server with SQL on it. It's not going to work. That's an architectural change. It's arguments with DBAs, arguments with developers. Whereas if you've architected your platform to scale in that way, which is grid, and this is where it's evolved to. So maybe in some ways cloud is a rebranded grid. And in fact, a lot of what we're looking at now in the research we're doing in the CTO office at VMware is around bringing grid technologies to classic IT, so to speak, and making it the ability to scale across multiple locations and scale your traditional applications in a grid kind of way, I suppose. But yeah, I come to a lot of cloud conferences, obviously, and you hear a lot of it's the same old thing, just rebranded to an extent, but there's always something new about it. There's always something new we've done. You know, it's like all cars have still got 4 wheels in the corner and an engine at the front in most cases. The decent ones have got it at the back. But you know, if you look at a Ferrari of today compared to a Model T Ford, they're slightly different, but they're doing the same thing, but in a different way. So I think, to come back to your original point, that's not capacity management. It's a new way of doing capacity management with having new capacity available to you to reassign when needed. I think that's the key thing. And also, writing to technology, you talked about hybrid earlier, that has the ability to burst to hybrid. And that's what we actually deliver today. There is a hybrid cloud you can do, where you can run out of resources internally and turn around to another provider and go and rent some tin off them to do it. So it's enabling more things, I think. So it's sort of the next evolution of capacity management. Funny enough, capacity management software is one of the key challenge areas in cloud.
So do you think public cloud or private cloud is the way forward? Because a lot of CIOs, private cloud is really an automation game, and capacity management game, and it's a better resource utilization. Burst computing, first kind of entry into the public cloud, and then potentially completely giving up control at one point or another, and then you go to a third-party infrastructure provider, not delegating all the other responsibilities that you mentioned before as well. Where do you think the sweet spot is going to be in about 5 years' time?
I think the other guy should answer this, to be honest, really.
Well, maybe I could give an answer to that. I mean, one company which I'm aware of, which I won't name, it's a low-cost airline. So, it's not British Airways, not Virgin, doesn't have a global footprint. But what they do need is, the ability to check people in, 2 hours before a flight in a remote location. So they want to be able to switch on check-in Ibiza, and then they want to switch on check-in somewhere else, and in the middle they don't want that. And they want to focus their time on turning the airplanes around on the ground very, very quickly. So in a case like that, they don't want to have their own servers or a private cloud, because every time they want the responsiveness and the performance in a different part of the world. So I would put that as a very good example of where it should be in the public cloud, rather than private cloud. So private cloud to me is really a resource utilization. You've got a number of servers all running 5%, you should do something. But if you now need a capability out of the geography or just a total capacity which expands massively, then you need to have a look at a public cloud offering. I mean, if I could maybe make one other comment, following up on what you said about people bringing handheld devices and the integration of all these technologies. I mean, one of the things which I spent some time doing is trying to work out what experiences I've had in my life are equipping me to be the CIO for the next 5 years. And I came to quite a scary realization. I mean, I have a PhD, I've spent 20 years in the city, I have all this stuff. But the best qualification I have is actually raising 6 children. And the reason why I say that is our user communities and the technology is like raising a family. If you go back 15 years, it was all about getting a PC and trying to teach that person to use a mouse, and the screen wasn't evil and all the rest of that. But as things have evolved and people come with their personal devices and other experiences, it's no different to having your children coming home from university and they've got other friends and other influences, and You know, and you need to find a way of still controlling and influencing that, but in a non-controlling manner. And you sometimes find the cost can get out of control in the same way as children at uni as well, but that's a different issue.
All right, very good. We've actually come to the end of the slot. I'd just like to sort of pose one final question. Given the fact that we've talked about cloud as being a tool in a toolbox being applied to business issues, I'd just be interested in literally kind of closing sound bites on what within your own organizations are those priority business issues where you feel that particular tool is going to be really helpful in the short-term future. Ian, if I can start with you.
Yes, I think the whole thing about cloud looking to the future is one around balance. I think it's a balance between cost, risk, and agility. And I think from any organisation, it's continuing to challenge its own technology function, its own delivery function, looking at alternative infrastructure delivery. So will it be public? Will it be private? I don't know, but I think if you've got spare processing, there's an opportunity to harvest that in terms of private cloud. But the business, they're looking for things for cheaper and quicker to market. So in terms of commissioning test servers or vertical SaaS offerings, I think that's where the sweet spot in the play is going to be over the coming months and years to come. Okay.
David, what about for you?
Pace and dealing with complexity to allow a very, very complex environment to work effectively and quickly. I think that's at the back of the G-Cloud initiatives, etc. But it's the pace and around that complexity where I think this could help.
Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, with us it's about being able to apply a new capability very, very quickly, both in terms of technology and process, but also expertise behind the offering which we would get on the cloud. Okay. So it's rapidly being able to deploy something we haven't done before.
And finally, Joe, leveraging your position as a vendor, and not as a sales and marketing pitch, but actually as a piece of advice. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give CIOs around the sort of key takeaway from this?
Stop thinking about infrastructure, start thinking about the applications and the services you deliver. That's pretty much my point. Stop being chief infrastructure officers, start being chief information officers and chief innovation officers, because that's actually where the difference is going to come. Because the biggest change I'm seeing, and sort of one more sentence, is if you look at most organizations, they have an awful lot of infrastructure and information tied up in vertical, siloed, monolithic, three-tier applications. And what cloud is going to allow you to do is to unlock and integrate and mash up that data, that information, more than ever before, and make that more available to more people. So I would start you to look at the applications and the services. Stop thinking about the infrastructure piece, because the infrastructure is going to go away.
And in closing from my side, first of all, thank you very much, and thank you very much for those of you that participated as well. I would simply say this, that there is an obvious link forming in my mind between the concept of the role of the CIO and the impact that can be gained through that particular role and function. And I think we're going to continue hearing links to that particular topic through the other panel discussions that are taking place over the next day and a half. So thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Budget.